Okay, so this is the objectives of the talk. I'm going to put people down so I don't. Okay. So hopefully in the talk you'll be able to get if you don't already know, you'll get a good understanding of what mindfulness is and how it can make a difference to your personal and professional lives. Yeah. You'll be given the opportunity to reflect on different things before, during, and after the activities that we're going to do. We're not going to do that many, but I think it's nice to do a few. So if you do the activities, you can note down your feelings, your emotions, sensations, thoughts, any difficulties you may have had, and what you learned. At the end, there's an opportunity to share your experiences and ask some questions. Okay, so at the end, everybody can turn on their microphones and let their kids run wild and ask some questions. The basic objectives, a lot of you know from mindfulness and the objectives of our courses, to give you a thorough understanding of what mindfulness and emotional intelligence are, and to acquire really the practical skills to put that theory, bring it into life, and help you in your workplace, in your personal development or whatever, and hopefully increase your well-being and decrease your stress. Everybody will have different goals and different reasons why they start mindfulness courses or practice mindfulness, but I think everybody wants to feel better. So that's the main idea, and hopefully, okay, it's just flashing up messages about people coming in. Sorry, there's still people coming in. And hopefully, at the end of the day, you'll be able to also transfer those skills on to the people around you. I know a lot of you are teachers, other people are working in the workplace. Some of you here are coming through Naturaclass are probably going to be therapists. So all of these skills of mindfulness and emotional intelligence will help you, in your work and obviously in your personal life to deal with the stresses and strains of everyday home life, but at the same time, hopefully, to enjoy it more, because we're going to be more tuned in. We're going to be more tuned into what we do, more connected to what we do. So, trying to move on. So basically, this is the kind of the way we're moving. We're moving forward. So we're kind of getting in touch with our emotions. So our program is quite unique as well. It's based on the PNET program, and a lot of you may know the PNET program is what I'm involved with in the university in Malaga. And the program really is quite unique on an international level in the sense that it does combine emotional intelligence and mindfulness. And there are very few, or in fact, I don't really know hardly any programs that offer the same combination. So we get in touch with our emotions through mindfulness, but at the same time, we try to understand and to manage our emotions. And so we get the outcome here of being effectively able to manage our emotions and to move forward. So I put there the way forward is time to feel and breathe. So it's time now to do our first little exercise. Okay. Mindfulness is mainly focusing on the breath. So I'm going to lead you through a little breathing exercise, and we're going to get in touch with the emotions that we're feeling at the moment. Okay. So I invite you to get comfortable, sit nice and straight if you can. A lot of you will remember, who've done training before, remember the posture. So your feet should be firmly on the ground. Don't slouch back in the chair or on the sofa. Try to sit up straight. Your arms should be resting on your thighs. Your shoulders are relaxed. And your chest is slightly out and your abdomen is slightly in. And your chin slightly down towards the chest. When you're in that posture, close your eyes. just feel what it feels like to just sit there with your eyes closed for a minute in that posture. And welcome yourself into this space, into the here and now, into the present moment. It's strange how we probably have no time for ourselves, or very little time for ourselves. Even with this period of lockdown, I still find it difficult to have time for myself. And really, all we need is to take about 10 minutes every day just to sit and be with ourselves, to sit and be, to stop and be. That can be to stop and breathe, concentrate on your breath. So just be aware of how the air is entering through your nostrils. Maybe it feels a little bit cooler as it comes in. Follow the air down into your body. Notice the movement of the chest as you breathe, and notice any other movements in the body as you breathe. Just do that for me. So we're breathing in through the nostrils and observing the breath. If you're breathing out through your nostrils, maybe the air feels a little bit warmer as it leaves. So try to notice the difference in temperature and the movement of the body as the air leaves. Be aware of any physical sensations you have in your body. Maybe you become aware of a foot that's itchy, or a pain in your shoulder, or a stomach that's rumbling. Whatever it may be, just allow yourself to connect with that and then continue. Mindfulness is about observing, it's about noticing what's going on. So we need to observe and notice what's happening in our bodies, what's happening with our emotions, what's happening with our mind, thoughts, and obviously what's happening around. So we use mainly our senses to get that information and to process that information. Let's take a nice deep breath in. So breathe in through your nose and allow the breath to leave with a sigh through your mouth. So you are letting out any stress, any tension you may have. We breathe in through our noses and out through our mouth. Allowing tension. Now ask yourself, keep your eyes closed, ask yourself, what do you feel right now? If you had to describe your feelings, your emotions, what are you feeling right now at this moment? Start analyzing, see if you can put a label on your emotion. And see if that emotion is connected with any particular part of your body. Can you feel it in any part of your body? Or is it a more general feeling? Or does it feel like it's in your head? Where can you feel this emotion? We just breathe and observe what happens to it, if anything. It may become more intense. If it becomes more intense, just start breathing with it and observe, and accepting, and allowing it to happen. Normally the feelings will lose their intensity. You will feel a sense of calm, tranquility, and silence. yourself, it's okay to feel how I feel. It's okay to feel how try to force yourself to feel something different. Emotions are messengers. They're telling us something. You need to listen to them. Then we start to understand them. And we can use them to facilitate our behavior, what we do. And if those emotions are more challenging, more hurtful, either to ourselves or others, we try to manage them. And how do we manage them? Try to breathe. Sit, first of all, and breathe and observe. You can start activating your toes and your fingers. We'll rub our hands together. And just take your hands a minute to your heart. Your hands are telling your heart, telling you that you're here. It's now, it's okay. When you hear the bell, you can open your eyes. We'll move on. Remember, you have the opportunity to write anything down, take any notes, and at the end, if you want to ask any questions or share your experience, you can, either in the chat or asking directly. Sharing directly via the microphone. So let's continue. Hopefully everybody's okay. Connect. Okay, so this is an interesting little diagram here. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's based on Paul Gilbert's book, Self-Compassion. And the two wings, if mindfulness was a little bird, then the two wings of that bird would be wisdom and compassion. So through the course is something else we try to do is to develop wisdom and compassion. One day you may become as wise and as compassionate as myself, or not. Sorry, that's just a big joke. Those who know me understand that humor, but others may not. So we have here, according to Gilbert, we kind of have three circles for explaining emotional systems, and he uses colors to describe them. I'm going to put my glasses back on because I'm losing my sight, gaining compassion but losing sight. And you can see there you've got the red zone, you've got the blue zone, and you've got the green zone. And there's a relationship between these three zones, okay? They're connected like a triangle. Really, we should kind of try to visualize them as a triangle. And normally we're spending time in one of these zones with our emotions, okay? So you may find yourself spending more time in one of these zones. And also the zone you want least time in is the red zone. The word negative or positive, I think it would be better here to use the word challenging, challenging rather than negative. Because some emotions, all emotions have a message, all of them are important. Even things like fear, anger, and sadness, they're telling us something. So they're not really negative, what they are is challenging. So I imagine with this virus, with Corona and all the upset that's been caused by this virus, a lot of us have spent a lot of time, or more time than usual, in the red zone because our lives have become a little bit insecure. Some of us might have lost our jobs. Some of us might have been laid off or put on to furlough. And other people may have, even been ill from the virus, or know people who have, and even maybe know people who have died from it. So those threats around us could probably, or possibly and probably, mean that we've all been in the red zone during the last 3 months, and we've been anxious, we've been angry, maybe at other times we've been disgusted, ashamed. We might have experienced different varying emotions at different times according to the news we've watched, or according to the effects that it's had on us. So if we spent a lot of time in the red zone, in this case, it's, we might be quite helpless in that zone, because during lockdown you're kind of on your own, and maybe this talk is 2 or 3 months too late, in the sense that maybe at the beginning, when we entered the red zone, mindfulness would have been more of a help, even more of a help than what it is now. No? But it's always a help, because even if we're, not in the red zone now, and we don't spend much time in the red zone, I'm sure at some stage in our lives we move into it, because things happen. As they say, somebody said, shit happens. No? So we can get pushed into the red zone at any time. There might be an accident, there might be a trauma, there might be a breakup, it just might be an argument in your workplace or at home, and it puts you into the red zone. Yeah. The opposite is the green zone. On the right hand side there, you can see the green zone is one of calm and contentment. So that's the classic zone of mindfulness, in a sense. Mindfulness is about being in the green zone. And I use the word there, be, because it's about being, not doing, okay? The green zone, normally people are not striving for anything. You're not fighting for anything. You don't want anything. You're happy with what you have and who you are, and everything around you is fine, okay? So we're in that green zone, feeling nice and comfortable and content on our sofas, or sitting under our tree, or happy at home and at work. Okay, it's a sense of security. It's the opposite of the red zone, which is a sense of threat. In the middle, we've got the blue zone, which is kind of the movement between the two. So if we're feeling driven and we want to achieve things and we want to move forward, then you can consider yourself in the blue zone. And probably in our society, in the Western world and in the capitalist system and in our system of education, we are striving for things continually. No? So it's quite normal and usual that we spend a lot of time in the blue zone, because we want to achieve things, we want to add things to our lives, we want to pass exams, we want to earn more money, we want to get promotion, we want to get married, we want to buy a house, whatever it may be. So in that zone, you use your emotions to try to achieve or help you achieve what you get. So you can convert, for example, the anger in the red zone. Anger is probably the best motivator, one of the best motivators. And anger would actually drive you forward for success, sometimes. So anger can be very creative, but at the same time, anger could be very destructive and take you deeper into the red zone. But if we're able to use our anger in a positive way, we can transform it, and we can use it to achieve what we want. Okay, so that's an idea just to give you where you are. Maybe you can just reflect for a moment before I move on of where you think, what zone you consider yourself in at the moment, and if that's normal or not for you, or if you normally spend more or less time maybe one of the other zones. So just think a bit about your relationship with those zones. So green is about being, blue is about doing, and red is about protecting yourself and being under threat. Mindfulness will help you to understand we can recover a sense of control. And stress is all about having control or not having control. You tend to be more stressed when you don't have control. So if we can sit and calmly observe where we are, it gives us that sense of control. Some little things here about interpreting this, okay. For example, everything could be fine, you're sitting in the park, literally in the green zone, then you notice that little 2-year-old has run off, and where's he gone? I can't find him anywhere. You start panicking, you're immediately in the red zone. Yeah. And obviously there with COVID, I've given the example, whatever, suddenly COVID comes along, spoils everything, puts you directly into the red zone, and you decide to reinvent yourself and retrain and create all sorts of courses, and then I'm back in the blue zone. Okay, so it helps us to understand where we are and what we're doing. Okay? And even if we're in the red zone or the blue zone, so if we're spending most of our time in the red zone and the blue zone, techniques like mindfulness can help you take you out of those two zones, which are more sapping on your energy, and put you temporarily, at least, into the green zone. Gives you 10 minutes, even just 10 minutes a day, to be silent, to breathe, and to recover. You might need that green, that little bit of green during the day, even if you know that you're going to go back at the moment and spend most of your time in the blue or in the red. Okay. So the one in a million dollar question, yeah, is about mindfulness is about being present. Now it sounds quite easy to be present, but it's not, yeah, because our body may be present, but often our minds are not. Our minds are worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen this evening, who's going to make dinner, how I got enough beer in the fridge, when I can move into the future very, very quickly. And it also goes back into the past. When I start to mull over all the things that I've done wrong, what I could have done better, or when I start reliving the good times, the good old days, okay? And those things take me out of the present. So there's interesting studies done by neuroscientists about happiness, and results show that the more time you spend, or your mind spends in the past or the future, the less happy you are. Yeah? The more time you can spend in the present, the happier you normally are. So there's a reason to be in the present. Yeah? And the present is just a moment. So it says there, mindfulness is about being awake and aware, living in the present, simply being yourself and knowing something about who that is. Now you might think, of course I know who I am. My question would be, do you really know who you are? We do an interesting activity sometimes on the courses where we just have to respond to the question, who are you? Yeah? And you stand facing in front of a person. You can do it if you want at home in front of a mirror. And just ask yourself, who are you? And see what answers come up. At first you'll probably say, I'm Laurus, I'm a teacher, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm whatever. But if you keep asking the same question and you cannot give the same answer twice, and you'll find that you start getting deeper and you get to the roots. You start getting to the roots of who you really are. Or you may find that you don't have an answer. Yeah. Once you've gone through all the labels, all the layers of an onion that we put on ourselves to say who we are, when we actually get to the core, we may not be able to answer that question. So mindfulness is about getting to the core, but I wouldn't worry too much about that at the moment. And you don't want to go too deeply soul searching at the moment. At the moment, we just want to try to be aware of who we are at this moment in time, and observe. And we get information to realize that just observing, as I said, our bodies, our feelings, and working through our senses. Move on. So you may think, okay, I'm listening to me here, you're reading what's on the screen, and I'd ask you now, how do you feel when you hear this? No? How do you feel when you read that? Can you relate to it or not? I would say don't worry, if it's difficult, it's very common that our mind starts to wander or intention falls, or we start to judge things. Yeah, there's probably some people here who have said, yeah, but they start to agree, disagree. It depends on your belief system, it depends on your experiences, etc. The essence of mindfulness really is about non-judgment, in the sense that we just have to try to open our minds and see everything from the beginning and try to overcome those limiting belief systems or conditioned behavior. A lot of our behavior is conditioned. Okay, we don't realize that we react in a certain way because that's how we've been told to react, or that's how we've always reacted. For example, you may have a fear of dogs, and that fear may stem from childhood. And at childhood, you kind of run away from a dog, or a dog tried to bite you, and your mother told you to stay away from that dog. If that reaction worked at that time, for example, you ran away, and the dog therefore didn't bite you, you may adopt that strategy every time you meet a dog. And 30 or 40 years later, you may still be adopting that strategy. So every time you see a dog, you run away. And that's known as conditioned behavior. So, but what happens when our behavior is conditioned like that? Well, in this case, we lose the ability to experience the good things about dogs and about having the beauty of having a dog as a pet, for example, or about the way dogs could help us. No. So if we just reject dogs because of our original fear of them, and a lot of it's automatic, and we don't even think about it, we just do it. But transfer that to other things that you do, or to people, or to belief systems about, there's a big thing about race, about color. Yeah, maybe we've been ingrained as a lot in the white society to say black people are dangerous. We're afraid of them in the same way we might be afraid of dogs. Yeah, we have this fear which might have been ingrained into us, saying, and we're not racist by choice in that sense, but we're just conditioned to be that way. So if we can come out of that conditioning, if we can be compassionate with ourselves and learn that's conditioned behavior, I have to rise above that. I have to rise above that and about what I believe, and just be in the moment and listen and give the opportunity in that moment to what's happening with me. And you may have to work, obviously, to overcome your fear. But once you're aware that your fear maybe is not logical, my fear of dogs is not logical, then I may be able to work with it and overcome it. But first I have to observe it and be aware of it. About being conscious of your incompetence. So mindfulness helps you to be conscious of your incompetence, which at the beginning can often make you feel bad because you think, oh, I thought I had managed my emotions really well, and now I realize that I don't. Yeah. So you become kind of consciously incompetent. And then education, learning is about being consciously competent. That's what emotional intelligence, that's what intelligence is. It's about learning to be competent with your emotions, in this case. So if we fall into judgments, we can interpret reality in a way that is biased or harmful to us, or even harmful to others. So basically, we just miss out on so many things, and we may stop other people from enjoying many things as well, because we protect ourselves. And by protecting ourselves, sometimes we isolate the other, or we reject the other. Okay? So mindfulness will help you to become more wise and be more compassionate with yourself and with other people. Try to avoid that kind of behavior. So two functions. It informs us what is happening in our field of sensory and mental perception. In other words, it tells us what's going on. inside us and what's going on around us, which is probably a useful thing to know, and also advises us not to immediately judge those things or not jump to conclusions too fast, yeah? Especially and realize what's happening with your thoughts, with your conditioning. Okay? If we can do that, we become less reactive. So that means, maybe imagine I don't get on very well with my neighbor. I had an argument with my neighbor, and every time I see this guy, I start to get angry. And maybe he hasn't done anything that day, but just seeing him makes me react in a certain way. If I'm aware that just seeing him makes me react like that, I can use mindfulness to breathe with that emotion, to accept that emotion, and try to be less reactive. Yeah. So it's about listening. It's about not being actively listening, not being all the time on automatic pilot. I wrote down actually this morning a nice little quote that came up. Normally the quotes come up when you've got to talk, and there's one that are relevant. And there was a quote which says, "We don't listen to understand, we listen to reply." Yeah, think about that. We don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. So when somebody's telling us something, we're more worried about how we're going to reply to that. Or maybe we've already formulated our reply. Yeah, because we always reply like that to this person. Okay, so think about that. Yeah? Listening to understand. Okay, let's move on. Somebody else has just joined, but we're going to move on. Okay, so mindfulness is nothing more than an awareness of the present. What can we do to cultivate the state of mindfulness? Well, it's about stopping and being. Yeah. First thing is to stop and be. It's about observing what is happening in your body and observing your emotions. It's then about returning to the here and now. So mindfulness is often been described as a kind of searchlight. Yeah? We can use to zoom in on something, so we can focus on something. Then we also have the ability of coming back out and getting the wider perspective. So it's about seeing the detail, about seeing what's going on, the ability to do that, to pick up on the small, if you want, on the detail, then without losing that sense of perspective. Yeah. And how do we do that? We use our breath. Yeah? We use our breath to bring us back and to anchor us to the present moment. So the present moment is what's happening in the here and now. We need to accept what's happening in the here and now. People confuse the word acceptance with kind of not doing anything, but it doesn't mean that. It just means accept. For example, accept that you're angry, but then you can do something to change your anger. It doesn't mean falling into being a victim or just saying, I accept all the bad things that happen to me. No, I'm aware of all the bad things that have happened to me. So I accept that those things have happened or are happening, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay? Compassion is about the recognition of suffering, but it's about doing something to alleviate that suffering. It takes acceptance to another stage. Okay, well, you could listen to me telling you about the benefits of mindfulness, but you can read a lot of different articles about the benefits of mindfulness in a lot of different ways. Sorry, I just have to get a tissue. So I just allow you to read that slide a minute while I blow my nose. So we can see benefits for our physical health. We can see benefits for our mental health. We can see benefits for our creative health and our emotional health. All of these are scientifically kind of proven and tested effects, no, of the benefits of mindfulness. And obviously, all those benefits can be transferred to you on a personal level. Yeah, we can just worry about our own physical, mental, and emotional health, or we can take that into the workplace and hopefully become more wise and compassionate in the workplace, and use those skills to help those around us in our work, or to help ourselves in our work. And we can take those to a team level. Okay, so it's about personal empowerment, really, but it's about ability as well to empower other people. No? And sometimes you can empower other people just by listening to them. Just listening to them empowers them, because maybe before they weren't listened to. That's why they have to go out, demonstrate, and do things, because they haven't been listened to. You know? So don't underestimate the power of being able to listen to someone. How do we do that? Well, we can do it in lots of different ways. Yeah. So mindfulness is divided into two kind of aspects of its practice. We have what we call formal practice, and formal practice is what you would understand, I suppose, as meditation, where you find a space at home or at work or outside in nature where you can sit and just do some formal meditation practice for, I would recommend, a minimum of 10 minutes, and maybe, up to an hour, or some people even longer, but the normal would be 10 minutes to, I would say, an hour, and no more than that. And that's what would be known as formal practice. But there's a lot of other activities we can do to be mindful and integrate it into our everyday life. So you have things, one of the things missing from this list, and which is very important, is mindful eating, for example. So being mindful when we're having breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Eating in a mindful way can have great benefits. And when I was in India many years ago, when I first came into contact with meditation, I was at a Buddhist monastery, and the monk told us there that eating is a meditation, and eating is the best meditation you can do. He still made us sit in a meditation room for 3 hours a day, but on a cushion. But he insisted also that eating meditation was really beneficial, and also we did a lot of mindful walking, etc., and different things. So next time you go for a walk, next time you go for a run or a cycle as well, be mindful. Look around you, be aware of all the information that's coming to your senses, and if necessary, stop and look, stop and smell, stop and touch, stop and listen, stop and taste the one I'm missing. Okay. And other ways are through acts of kindness and gratitude. We can start incorporating small acts of kindness and gratitude into our lives to enhance our lives. So this would be known as informal practice. And it can be integrated during the day. There's also mindfulness as a tool. For example, if you're in a situation where you suddenly notice that is stressful, for example, I've got to queue up for a long time at the supermarket, or I've got to make a difficult phone call, have a difficult conversation with somebody, I may want to induce a state of mindfulness before I do that. So I always say we, but I'm like the Queen, I use the royal we, and really it's me, I've created two programs at the moment which are available. One is, these are available on Moodle Cloud. And there's a standard program which you see here, the contents of, and it's divided into 9 sessions. It's estimated to be about 25 hours of work and study. And you can see there the content of the different sessions. What I've also done is these courses haven't been running very long. I think there's about 17 people signed up at the moment on the site, because this is the activity of my blue zone during lockdown. I have about 17 people signed up. And what we found is that they need a little bit more support. So what I also offer is once a week, we connect via Big Blue Button, which is the equivalent of Zoom on Moodle. We connect via Big Blue Button, and we have an hour. We spend an hour each week together, and we do some meditation, we do some practice, and we just talk, and I resolve any of the doubts that they may have. So it's just, I'm going to continue with that because I think it's a really nice idea, because sometimes some of the things about online courses, and I know myself as a student of online courses, and also as a teacher of online courses, it's quite difficult sometimes to keep that rhythm if it's just everything is purely online. So I think offering a session once a week for an hour gives people the opportunity to connect and feel that they're being listened to and they're being kind of moving along together. You know? Because all this stuff about online learning, I think we can feel very isolated. I mean, just a few weeks ago, this would have been, for me, this was very nerve-wracking. And now I've been doing this kind of online stuff now for a few weeks, and I find it almost normal now, and kind of quite comforting in the green zone. I can't see you, but I've learned to trust that you're still there. Maybe I'm wrong. When I come back and screen, you all gone. But at the moment, I'm only seeing my my presentation. But we can feel that sense of isolation, no? when we're working online. So we offer that. Okay. So this is the standard course. This standard course would be suitable for everybody. It's also a stepping stone, for example, to go on to do a specific course for teachers, which I have in the pipeline. That course should be ready relatively soon. So we have a specific one for teachers, so coming from a teaching background, from education. And that is set up for teachers, all kinds of teachers. I know some of you here are teachers, and being students of mine. So it doesn't matter if you're primary, secondary, or language teachers, it doesn't really matter. But we have a specific program that I'm working on for the teachers. Okay. Also have a slightly longer a program for business and organizations. This is more focused on professional development. So it also includes all the basics. Okay, so it includes a lot of the basics from the standard program, but it's going a little bit more in depth into different aspects which are more related to work, okay, and work-related things. And it's also an opportunity there to actually develop your own project, your grow project, which is about achieving your goals, and how I could help you with that, and even help people along with coaching sessions or whatever, using mindfulness-based coaching techniques. So that program is slightly longer. Okay, it is probably, I estimate it would probably maybe take maybe 10 up to 10 hours more than the standard program. Even could be up to 40 hours. It depends. All of these programs really depend about how much you put into it and how much time you want to dedicate or you can dedicate. But I estimate the time there is an estimation of between 30 and 40 hours. Okay. And there you have my contact details. So I'm going to upload this presentation now, so you can share it. I'm going to go out of this screen and go back if I can. Go back to you guys. So I'm back and I'm seeing all of you. So in the chat, we're going to do another meditation before we open for questions, but I'm just going to, if I can, where's the chat? No. Normally there's an option. Okay, let me just... okay, I can try to find it in a bit. I'm trying to get here into the chat because there's a part where I can upload, I think, a document, but I can't seem to get to it. Okay, as always, in the practice before I could and now I can't, but if somebody can help me in a minute, maybe I can try to do that, to upload the PDF. If not, you can send me, I've got your emails actually, I could send you it, that'll be easier probably. I could send it, oh, it might be too big, a document. Okay, I'll see what I can do in a minute. Okay, so let's invite you to another, just to finish off here with another meditation, and then we'll 5 minutes or so, and then we'll open up for a chat. Okay. So if you want to get into the meditation posture, we'll close our eyes, feel your feet in connection with the ground. We're sitting in our chairs, our backs are nice and straight, our shoulders are slightly back and down, chest out, abdomen, chin slightly forward, arms resting on thighs, and just breathe. Observe if you're breathing from the abdomen. You might like to place your your hands over your abdomen and just see if your abdomen is rising and falling as you breathe. This will help you to see how deep your breath is. And if your breath isn't reaching your abdomen, try to make it a little bit deeper so that you can feel that movement in your hands. Yeah? So your abdomen will expand as you breathe in. You can feel the expansion as your hands and your fingers maybe are slightly pulled apart. Your abdomen rises and falls. The deeper we manage to breathe, the more relaxing that breath is. Normally, the slower it is. We try to slow our breath down. Anxiety, panic, and states of stress are connected with over rapid breathing. Normally, the breathing is too fast. So we try to slow, just the act of slowing the breath down can make you feel less stressed, less anxious. We're going to try to breathe in. We're going to do a classic breath, which is called the 4x4 breath. So basically, I'm going to breathe in to the count of 4, my nostrils, to the count of 4. I'm going to breathe out to the count of 4. And I'm going to wait for another 4 before I breathe in again. I'm going to try to do that 4 times. So it's a 4x4 breath, repeated 4 times. And that should take you to about a minute of practice. Yeah? So breathing into the count of 4, holding to the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4, waiting for, and breathing in to the count of 4. So in your own time, just follow that for a minute. So 4 rounds of 4x4. Start being aware of the sounds that you have around you, the sounds that might be coming from inside your body, the sounds that are coming from the room, from outside of your room. You might find that different sounds come in and out. You start to focus. It's about focus of attention on one particular sound. Maybe you hear the sound of a clock ticking. You focus on that, and that's all you hear. And then you allow that focus to fade. Maybe you focus on a different sound, and then the sound of the clock kind of disappears. It's curious how we can do that with our minds. We focus on specific things, or we can just allow a whole range to come in together. And that's when we get headaches, when we get confused, if all the sounds are coming in together at the same time. So the ability to identify, to label, and to recognize the sounds is the same as we should be able to do with our thoughts and with our emotions. As our thoughts come in and out, we can identify them, we see them, we look at them, register them, and then we let them go. Check in with how you're feeling right now. We did this at the beginning, more or less, but ask yourself again, how am I feeling right now? I had to put a label or a name on my feeling, on my emotion. What would I say? And just breathe again, without feeling, without judging it. Compassion is about intention. It's about asking politely for things. It's not about demanding anything. So one of the meditations of compassion is to say to yourself, may I? We begin with that, may I. You sound very English, very polite. But it means really it's not a demand. May I find peace? May I be happy? May I be well? May I find peace? May I be happy? May I be well? You can repeat that to yourself. One of the great mindfulness teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, he's Burmese monk, wrote a nice book called A Pebble in Your Pocket. And he recommends picking up a pebble next time you go to the beach or to a riverbed or even to the country. Pick up a small stone and carry that stone with you, and every time you touch it in your pocket, you remember your intention. So it brings you back and it will say to you, may I find peace, may I be well, may I be happy. And it's a reminder to move in that direction. It's not a demand, it's not something we can demand, but it's a reminder to yourself that that's where you want to go. That's what you want to move towards. Sometimes we need little reminders, little triggers. Try to tune in now. Keep your eyes closed if anybody's open. Keep your eyes closed, close them again. And try to listen to what you most would like to hear now. If somebody was whispering something in your ear in the plan of may I, what would be your phrase? You've listened to Free of Mind, which is standard, but what do you want to hear now? Just sit in silence for a moment and think about what you would like to hear. repeat that phrase to yourself, that little mantra. May I, whatever it may be. See how you feel when you say it. See if anything happens in your body when you say it. We'll take our hands to our hearts. Keep your eyes closed. Put your hand over your heart and say it again. Say that phrase again. So print it into your heart. This is your pebble to your heart. So in the next few days, whenever I put my hands over my heart, I'm going to remember that phrase of mine. May I. I'm going to do whatever I can to try to move towards that. In a patient way, in a mindful way. In a compassionate way, in a mindful way. Breathe normally. You can start to move. If you want, move your shoulders, your arms, your feet, fingers, toes. When you hear the bell, you can open your eyes. Here we are back in our space. Most of you are still here. I lost count because people were coming in as I was doing the presentation. People were asking to enter. I was letting people in. But I don't have to let anybody out. You let yourself out. So some of you may have left. If you have left, then you're not listening to us, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So now there's an opportunity if you want to put your microphones on and ask any questions, share any experiences, clarify any details. If you don't want to speak, you can write it in the chat. I think I can also see it. If I put my glasses on, I can anyway. It's curious because in the chat before, when I opened before, Zoom before, I could upload a document to the chat, but now for some reason it doesn't seem to be any possibility to allow me to do that. If anybody has a solution to that, some of you techs, I know some of you guys from Teleco are here, right? I can see you. Don't sneak away. Telecommunications Forum might know how to do this. Yeah, if not, I can try to send it through email or a shared folder. Exactly, yeah. Alon can send it by email or a shared folder. Yeah. Alon is also, yeah, and I think I know quite a few of you here. But if you want, yeah, it'd be nice to get a message and find out who you are or why you're here or how you heard about this. Is there anything else? I'm just going up. No. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me properly, Laurus?
Yes, I can, yeah. Hi,
Okay.
Irene, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to share with you that I got the email from Rika, the Finnish colleague, And well, that's a coincidence
Okay.
because that was the last year, for, the last day of the school year for us today. And well,
Okay, you're
what
still
I
at school?
feel,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and what I feel is now a kind of relief because
Mm-hmm.
I'm really positive about that I couldn't accomplish that in this way. I mean, these 2.5 months or 3 months, if I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
attended your course last year. You know, so I do
Thank you very
feel
much,
that
Erin.
that's an accomplishment. Okay, so really a kind
Mm-hmm.
of achievement that I was able to prepare some documents for my students with mindfulness part and something
Okay,
about
so you
self-care. And
mm-hmm.
so thank you very much. And
So
I
you,
am very grateful for that. And that is why I wanted to join this session now, because
okay.
well, I wanted to hear you again and to see probably some other colleagues from the different parts of the world. And well, that was that. And my students were really immersed into that type of learning. And at the same time, of course, taking care of their soul, their mind, their
Mm-hmm.
mental, emotional health. And so thank you very much, Lawrence.
Great. So you put into practice a lot of your spree project stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
that's great. Yeah, Erin last year in Brighton on the course in Brighton shared a lot of lovely goodies as well from your country. Yeah, when we went to Seven Sisters and we had a drink.
Yes.
Some
Mindful eating and
sweet stuff.
mindful drinking. Yes.
Yeah, mindful. I still got the Pebble. I'm just going to get the Pebble actually. So this Pebble is slightly too big to put in my pocket. But this Pebble was picked up on the beach in Seven Sisters by you guys on the course, and you signed it for me. Yeah, you can see
Yes.
your name there, no, at the top.
Yes. 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 Yes,
It
I
looks,
can see.
it looks the opposite way around. And I realise it's a mirror effect, no? When you look at the video, it's like a mirror effect.
Yes, indeed.
But you can see it okay. For me, it looks like it's the around. No? It's
Yes.
like I'm looking in the mirror. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Erin. If you want to carry on, or you've got any colleagues, then you know we're still here. We're still around online. You know where I am. Somewhere on the beach, washed up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else like to ask anything or share anything?
I just wanted to thank you because I and my husband Andres used to attend to your seasons, but I'm a total beginner, and you discovered me a lot of things. The green zone, it's it's a discover because you always try to avoid the red zone and stay in the blue, but the importance of the green, it's the same with the present time, because I try to learn from the past and be prepared for the future, but I forget to stay in the present and accept things, because you know, I say, for example, Andres is very messy, he's messy, and I try to fight against it, but
yeah, Andreas, you're.
I think I have to accept it, and you know, and not just so much. I have learned a lot this evening. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank
great.
you.
Thank you, Rose. No, thank you. Thank you for being here and listening and patience to Andres too. Andres now turned himself off, but yeah. Okay.
Hi, Laurus. I don't know if you can hear me.
Who's Irene?
Yes, Irene or Irene.
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
All right,
Irene,
I'll try to speak it out. I met you in a conference you did in Naturaclass in Spain when it was in Malaga. So I went there for I think it was an Ayurveda speech. You did that at that time, and I did enjoy that. So that's why I joined today.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I just wanted. Well, thank you, of course, because your chat's been very nice and full of richness and all good things. And I was wondering if you could share again your contact details. I think you put earlier on, your email and all that. But I think I've got
all your emails. I think because when we sent out the link, I've got your emails there. But I'll just write it. I'll just write it in the chat anyway.
Okay,
I can.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And I'll try to get this presentation to you as well, okay? If some form, shape or form. What's normally done is it's being recorded and it's available on the Naturaclass website on things, but I haven't got the courage to watch myself doing them yet. So I haven't gone back and seen any of the things that have been put up or the classes that I'm recording in. I'm also teaching at the moment in Spanish, Ayurveda and aromatherapy. We got a talk on aromatherapy actually tomorrow in Spanish.
Yeah, I'm good for that tomorrow.
School. So I know, a lot of people are coming along for that tomorrow. If any of you guys or anybody else wants to come and learn about smells, that's what we're talking about tomorrow. Aromas. I've lost track now. What I'm trying to say. So the talk is being recorded and it is available. Yeah, it is available. And hopefully the PDF of this as well. If it's not too big, I can send it. I tried to send it now as an attachment to everybody who signed up.
Still, if we can see the video again, I mean, if it's going to be shared, we can go through all the speech you've been doing. We can see all the, whatever it's called, transparencias, diapositivas.
Exactly,
PDF
exactly.
So that's all right.
Okay,
Thank you
so you
very
see
much.
there my email, just come up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anybody else like to say anything?
Hi, yes, I am Rafael. I am a beginner as well. I'm fan of Javier, Andres, and Rosy. They have told me that you did this conference today, so I just want to thank you and to say that with this session I start to understand a little better what mindfulness is, or at least what I think, because I have always listened that mindfulness is to avoid thinking and try to dismiss the thoughts. But for what you have said, what I understand is that the goal is to focus on the perception, so on what you are listening or seeing, and not to cancel your thoughts, but just not paying attention and focus to them. So is to
exactly. I think it's almost impossible to empty our minds. No? What we're trying to do is observe what's going on in our minds. So we're observing our thoughts, so we can see what's happening in our minds, and that will allow us to get information and get perspective on how we act and how, not to eliminate thought, but to be aware of how thoughts may affect us and step back and observe them. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so thank you. It was very interesting.
Okay, thanks very much for that comment. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to say thank you, Laurens, for I kind of I needed this actually, because I get caught up with, well, you know me from the Centro de Idiomas. There's lots of things going on and I get caught up, and I spend far too much time in the red zone and not enough time in the, no time in the green zone. And rarely in the blue zone. So I'm kind of like, I'm trying to do this for the 2-year-old. For the 2-year-old's complicated meditation. I don't spend enough time on myself, that's for certain. And it's a kind of like constant battle, I think. Get off. It's a constant battle with myself, I think. I'm just constantly fighting myself instead of accepting myself. So thank you very much. It's lovely to see you as well. Miss you loads.
No, and you. Yeah, so that's about self-compassion, Stacey. Yeah, we don't want to beat ourselves up. So yeah, we just kind of be aware of what's going on and then try, the hold. So you can't see my heart. Just works. I got my pajama bottoms on, by the way. So wait, hand over heart. Yeah, and just try to a little bit of self-compassion. It's what we need.
Yeah.
Definitely. But hopefully, things. There's a great law in mindfulness does have its origin in Buddhism, but now it's a secular practice, obviously, and accepted into the scientific and the academic and the medical world. But the origin of Buddhism and mindfulness maybe is coming from Buddhism, and that talks about the law of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. In that sense, all suffering will end sooner or later. The same as all happiness ends sooner or later, maybe. But the idea is that we recognize where we are, and we try to spend a little bit more time in the green zone, and maybe proportionately, even though 10 minutes in the green zone might be enough to alleviate the other 8 hours that I'm spending in the red zone. It gives you a moment to recharge your battery. So if you can do it, if you can make the effort and try to do that, spend a little bit of time in the green zone, even if it is just a little bit of time, then hopefully it will have its benefits.
Yeah.
And thank you. Lovely to see you too.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. Anybody else? Andrea's very quiet there. You okay? Colette. Okay.
If you can stay a little bit to talk with me after the people are gone.
Okay, yeah, sure, Alan. Okay, so we can stop the recording now if you want, unless anybody else wants to say anything. And you know where I am. And yeah, you can come and find me. Or I'll come and find you.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I just want to thank you, and I want to see you again. I miss your classes because we teach me for a while, and after 1 year and a half.
Yeah, and a lot of different classes.
Yeah. So I miss your classes and you, so that's why I'm here mostly. And it's also good to refresh all the mindfulness learning. So thank you.
I miss you too, Harry. From C2, mindfulness, multiple etc. You've done all of it. You've done all the courses.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. Thanks very much.
Goodbye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.